welcome to Just Start, Get Visible, your go-to resource of the journey to becoming more visible in a way that feels right for you. Hey there, and welcome to Just Start, Get Visible, your resource of becoming visible in a way that feels right for you. Of course, I'm Jacqueline Baker, I'm your host, and I'm excited, like I always am, to bring you some tips, some tools, and some resources to start the things that you truly want to do and get visible in a way that truly feels right and feels good for you. You probably noticed we're in a new location today, and I'm so incredibly excited because we get a chance to talk to someone that has been a conversation in the making for quite some time. But we're also talking about a subject that you all know I feel very passionate and I feel very excited about. And it's about bringing people together and hosting. We're at a bike shop, so you might be thinking, well, how do you do that in the context of a bike shop? But I promise I'll share that with you in just a second. Before we jump into today's conversation, just a couple of quick announcements. First of all, this episode is sponsored by Live, Laugh, and Be Jeweled. You want to see my earrings? Look a little bit closer. You all know that I love me some Live, Laugh, Be Jeweled. These earrings are curated by one of my dear friends, Erica Boone, and she has some fantastic pieces. And you might want to head over to livelaughbejeweled.com to check out these pieces and many, many more. I think that it's time for us to get started on today's podcast episode. I have the opportunity to talk to a friend, a fellow entrepreneur, and someone who I really marvel from afar and not so far away. His name is Matt Jaffe. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, absolutely. So listen, we are about to engage in a conversation. I'm about to get in all of Matt's business because, is that a problem?
All good, all good.
Listen, I know that you've built community. I know that you have lots of supporters here. I know that you've built more than just a bicycle shop. Like you've built a safe space for people to get healthy, to be supported, to have community. And I'm dying to know, what's your secret sauce? Like how? Take me on the journey of like how you've built this and what your secret sauce is.
Well, Jacqueline, I want to first and foremost thank you again for the opportunity to share. And it's funny when people ask me about what's my secret sauce, or like how do we get started? It's as simple and as cliche as it may sound, simply listening, right? So just listening to what a lot of my clients come in and talk to me about, listening to what issues they're having with bikes, listening to how their experiences at other bike shops has really been the secret sauce. Obviously, I take notes and then I have to be proactive and implement them into how I go about my business model. But that's really been the key to understanding what my clients truly want, just sitting there and listening to them.
It's so interesting. I talk a lot in our Scarlet Etiquette and Leadership classes about listening and how it's something that we're doing every day. However, many of us don't do it very well because a lot of times we want to jump in and give our opinion and our perspectives instead of just listening overall. So we're going to dig there just a little bit more in the future. However, I would like to invite you to go back with me. Okay. I am always curious about starting journeys. And you and I, we've known each other for several months now, but I actually don't know your starting journey and when you gave yourself permission to get started in this space. So take me and take our community on the journey of when did you get started and how do you get started?
Absolutely. So for me, it was an exciting time, but a very scary and frightening time as well too. So during the pandemic in 2020, I would say right as soon as everything shut down in May, my company at the time, I'm a fiber optic engineer by trade.
Pause. What? I knew there was a little bit of engineering in your world, but I don't think I knew the details of fiber optic engineering. Okay, carry on.
Sure. So for those of you who don't know, fiber optics is the study of light, how we transmit communication using light, right? And I worked in the communications field for a lot of data centers, helping them to implement fiber and install fiber into their facilities, helping them to kind of grow the infrastructure that way. But during this time period at COVID, they were doing some restructuring with the organization, and my position was one that was getting restructured.
Is that right?
believe it or not.
Real convenient.
So I took that opportunity, everything that I had invested in the company, everything that I had savings, and I had been biking as well. I've always been an athlete. I ran cross country in high school, played soccer, and I used to always ride my bike as a child. So during this time period, more folks were switching to outdoors. We were moving to outdoors because the gyms were closed and things like that. So during this time period, a lot of my friends, a lot of my neighbors would ask, I see you riding your bike all the time. I have an old bike. Would you help me fix it? And in one, tinkering around, a tune-up here, a brake adjustment there, I got referrals. People were showing up to my apartment building in Alexandria asking if I could help fix their bike. So before I knew it, I'm a business development person as well. I realized that we had a business model here. And I just immediately got certified as a bicycle mechanic, made an LLC for the company as well. And then we've just been going ever since, just continuing to grow. And social media for me has been the ultimate push. That's really what's been helping us get the word out, get more of those referrals. And just the way we do content for fixing a bike, a lot of people truly enjoyed it.
Yeah. One thing you just said that I'm very curious about is, and you didn't exactly say it, but it really makes me want to ask this question about the connection. There are lots of people that are in our audience and our Just Start audience that are thinking about, how do I transition from where I'm at now to where I want to be? Yeah. But more importantly, how do I connect the things and the experiences that I've had to maybe a vision or a dream that I have or will have in the future? And so for you, when you think about your fiber optic engineering path and the skills and experiences that you've had, can you see clean lines of, hey, because I learned this there, now I'm able to utilize this in the bicycle shop? Are there connections for you?
Absolutely. It's almost, it's just crazy as far as how clear it is as far as to make that connection. So every single thing that, not even just the fiber optic job, I look back at my first job in retail, all of that translates to what I do now. So from my retail experience, working in the fiber optic manufacturing facility, working with assembly lines, all of that comes into play here. Not only when I'm working on bikes, but when I'm teaching individuals to work on bikes, the business development piece, things that I've learned from an accounting aspect, all of that gets translated over into the business. So what I truly try to tell people is develop a plan, right? Try and at least see what is it you want to do, and test out a ton of different passion projects, test them all out to figure out which one really sticks, but then see how what you're doing for your current employer, you can then do for yourself. Because believe it or not, everything that you've been able to do for someone else, you can do for yourself.
Yeah, it's fascinating that it truly is sort of that simple, right? It's hard work, let's be honest here.
Sure.
Being an entrepreneur is hard, let's just be honest about that. However, even when you think about someone who may be in planning or in budgeting at an organization, those same principles that you use within your job in corporate, you need to bring those same principles to a small business. And sometimes we just forget that, just because something is a Fortune 100 or 500 company and they have processes, those same processes or skills or expertise, you can apply them to your small business overall. So, when I got out the car today, and I walked into the bike shop. This is my second time being here. Of course, I was here for Matt's opening.
Yeah.
Yep, a few
good
months
time.
back.
Good
It was
time.
some good times, actually. And it was so many people here. That's the reason why I asked about community, is because literally his guests were spilling out the door and down the street. I'm sure the juice shop next door is what's up over there, right? But when I came in here, I'm sure when lots of people come in here, you feel a certain way, right? There's an exciting and upbeat feel to what you have here at the bicycle shop, and that is something that's very intentional for you.
Correct.
And it makes me think about culture and community and environment, and it's not just buying a bike, it's also how you feel in the customer journey or the customer experience. Why? You could have just had a shop and had some bikes, and you didn't have to have the coffee bar over here, right, or the spirits. Why is this important to you?
So when I started the company, there were two thoughts that came to my mind, or at least two references that came to my mind. One was a barbershop, and the other was a black barbecue.
Oh.
So when you think about your family barbecue, those cookouts and things like that, it's such a welcoming environment. And a lot of this goes back to the listening piece. So when I first started, I listened to a lot of my customers, and they would always tell me, going into bike shops was never an inviting experience. So where do you feel the most welcome? Usually at the cookout or the barbershop, because this is a place where we're comfortable. It's a safe space for us to talk about whatever we want to talk about, from politics to sports to family, relationships, you name it. And it's also, what happens at the bike shop stays at the bike shop. Stays at the bike shop. So that was really, it was intentional in terms of just the way we designed the layout, but also just that vibe, that energy when you walk in here.
Can we go super transparent for a moment?
Let's do it.
Our audience comes here to hear the real, right? We're always gonna rile you up and we're gonna make you excited and go, go, go. But sometimes we mess up. And sometimes we don't do things in a way that we're proud of or in a way that we would want to repeat that again.
Yeah.
So can you take me to a mistake? What's one of the bigger mistakes that you've made on this journey? And maybe one that, for some people, they're still making the mistake, but what's one of your more memorable mistakes?
So a good person that I've listened to for a while, a mentor, Jim Rohn, he always says, don't start the day until it's fully planned. And one thing that I used to do religiously was always order before I needed to. So from an inventory perspective, you see all these wonderful bikes here now, you see the t-shirts, all of the products, and I didn't know what everyone wanted. So I would just buy, and then I would be sitting on inventory for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and people are knocking at the door, we need that. So I would definitely say listening to my customers was really key to making sure that what I was purchasing was intentional to what they needed. But also, we're a very lean store. So when you come in, if you need something and it's not here, we can get it to you quickly, but it's intentional that we don't have excess in things. That was a huge mistake early on for me.
Yeah. And it goes back to the listening piece, right? Not just building something or acquiring something because you feel like it should be, but have you asked the questions to the people that you actually want to purchase stuff from?
Absolutely.
One thing that you mentioned earlier that's memorable in my mind, I know this because I follow you on social media.
There you go.
Right? Where should people be following you on social media?
Jaffe Cycling.
Okay. And I'll put it in the show notes, of course. One thing for sure is you have built a great visibility opportunity or a great, visible platform, if you will, on socials. And it makes me think about you and your visibility journey and even the company's visibility journey. Of course, the podcast is called Just Start Get Visible. And we're really focused and committed to providing people with tools and resources to get visible. Yeah. That might mean if you're in corporate, you're like, hey, I gotta stop hiding out. Like I need to join some affinity groups. I need to raise my hand for an opportunity. I need to speak up in meetings a little bit more. Yeah. For an entrepreneur, that might mean I wanna be on stages or I need to be on social a little bit more. I might do lives. And so we like to make sure that wherever people are at, they're getting resources and knowledge around, okay, I'm ready to get visible and here's how I can do it. Tell me about your visibility journey, all right? Has being visible been something that you're just like, yep, sign me up. I'm the brand here and Jaffe Cycling can exponentialize because of my brand. Like, has being visible been something that you've been comfortable with the whole time?
I think secretly, I've always wanted to kind of be out and visible and in the mix. And I think, I hate to say it this way, but like Matt isn't as outgoing sometimes, but Jaffe is.
Okay.
So like everyone calls me Jaffe. Most people know me in the industry as Jaffe. Like they call me by the company name. For me, it was understanding that this community specifically, if they don't see you, it's hard for them to support you. So going to the local rides, I got a chance to meet over 22 different local bike clubs here in the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, which reaches over 4,000, 5,000 cyclists. And just physically being out there on that ride, you have no idea how many times someone would stop me and say, something's going on with my chain. My shifter's messed up, or my handlebars, and it's just because they saw me out there on the ride. And then my response as I've gotten, a little more busy, I'd say, is, I'll see you at the shop on Monday, right? So like, it's one of those, like when they see you, it almost triggers them. It sends this message that I need to go and see that brother. I need to go to his shop. I need to get my bike serviced. So being visible from going to the local group rides, and I think it helps that I'm actually kind of fast on the bike too. So.
That's because you're showing out. You're showing out, aren't you? They're like, this guy must know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Jaffe.
All they see is the jersey passing by. They're like, you know what?
you know what? That guy knows what he's doing.
He's on to something.
And his bike isn't broken like mine.
It's so true.
Yeah, if you were out there with a rickety bike, like that would just totally mess everything up. Yeah. Is being in the spotlight comfortable for you?
It doesn't feel as odd as I thought it would.
Okay.
But it's not a me thing though for me to be in the spotlight. I don't think that I go out seeking the attention. I do. It's a calming effect, kind of. When people see me, I think it's what I represent, what we've been able to build. I think that's really what the attention is on. Not necessarily on Matt, the person. It's more so on, the foundation, like the community we've been able to grow. And then also what we stand for. I mean, we promote health and wellness. We promote healthy living, exercise, but then also youth engagement too. And I think that's what really, at least that's what I hope, gets the attention.
Yeah. Tell me about the youth engagement piece a little bit. I'm curious because if you go to the site or if you look at any of your socials, you see a span of almost everybody, right? Like you see people who are younger and people who are older. But I've heard you say previously, and even in some of your marketing materials, you specifically speak to youth engagement. Tell me about that space for you and why it's important.
I was going to start with the reason why it's so important for me is I grew up here in Prince George's County, and one thing that we didn't see was a variety of sports. So if it wasn't basketball, if it wasn't football or some form of entertainment, it just felt like there was no hope for you outside of academics. And there's a ton of students who don't make the teams, right? They don't make it to the NBA. Like that percentage is so low. But cycling is kind of one of those gateway sports. It's low impact, so it allows us to keep our athletes longer. So we save the ones who are in football or those contact sports, and it preserves their bodies a lot longer. But then for the student who isn't as coordinated on the football field, riding a bike is a lot more simple for them. It's kind of like watching a penguin outside of water. You may look awkward, but in the water they look very smooth, very tranquil. Same thing for some individuals on a bike. But the importance of it is also how wide the industry is. You don't have to be a Tour de France racer. You could work at a bike shop, you can own a bike shop. There's mobile cyclists. There's also design engineers. You can help build bikes, you can fix them. It's so many different job opportunities that go unnoticed because cycling isn't as mainstream as some of those other sports.
And it's actually exciting just thinking about the period of time we just came off of with Olympics, right? Yeah. And just so many young people even more excited about things in sports that they didn't even know existed, right? Were the Olympics, was watching it your thing?
Not the Olympics, but the tour, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Probably got to do a little better job next year. Or next 4 years.
Next 4 years. If you're with it, you're with it. If you're not, whatever. Like, it's not like it's not your world.
Right.
For some people, truly, they show up every 4 years and pay attention to these sports. But you're like, yeah, that's cool, but I do this.
Yeah. We're riding.
Right, so. We're riding every day, yeah. Tell me a bit about how you show up in your spaces, and let me tell you what that means. Ooh. I know. I'm very careful with the word balance, very careful, because I think that for some people there's an adverse reaction to it because we have pockets, right? We have friends, we have family, business, fraternity, right? Just things and spaces that we're showing up in. And depending on who you are, some spaces might get 80% one day and one space gets 0 and something gets 20, right? And so instead of saying, tell me how you manage, tell me how you balance, I more so want to know, how are you showing up in the spaces in your life that you care the most about? Like, how do you decide, or what does it look like for you to show up in these spaces that you care deeply about?
That is a loaded question.
Oh no, I didn't mean to trigger him, y'all. I approached it so delicately, and I don't think it worked.
You couched it very well. Because the truth of the matter is, I feel like that's a balance question, right? And it's one of those things. I've been watching and I've been listening to some of those entrepreneurs who I look up to, and from a balance perspective and how I show up, it's really difficult to say that everyone gets a certain percentage of me.
Right.
I think I like to segment it by what's going on that week, if that makes sense, as far as what requires more of me. Because as much as I would have loved to say I'm, bubbly and, hey, welcome to Jaffe Cycling every day, there are some days where it's like, no, I need to save that energy for the social that we have to go to, or I need to save that energy for our youth program. I think the way I delegate my emotions and my energy is really based off of what that week looks like.
I really appreciate that answer, seriously. And I say that because somebody who almost has to be a bit in the spotlight, like literally your name is the business name. Yeah. It's hard, I would imagine, sometimes to just turn it off when you want to turn it off because the store needs to be open and the conversations need to be had and the sales need to be made. However, the reason why your answer is so incredibly important is because there are some people that come here to the podcast that want to be visible, but visibility in their mind is hard because it's like, but I don't want to be on all the time, or I don't want the spotlight on me. And that's the reason why we say, in terms of what we do here, we help you show up in a way that feels right for you, which might mean knowing that, hey, sometimes I got to dial it down over here because later on today I have to dial it up.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, if I go personal for a second, and many of you know this because I've talked about it previously as it relates to my husband, Mark. Mark is an extrovert. Everybody knows. Right? Troy, right, our podcast producer and resident videographer, photographer, like he knows. I'm more of an ambivert, right? That means that when I'm on, and when I'm off, I'm off. Yeah. Mark is an extrovert, okay? He comes in and everybody's like, Mark's here, cool, Mark's here, let's go. They love Mark, right? When we go to events together, sometimes I have to make a decision. Are we going to drive together? Because I might hit my social wall and Mark is still ready. And so for me, I know that about myself because sometimes if I hit my social wall, I'm not as bubbly as people expect me to be based on what they see online. So I need to disengage so Mark can continue to have his fun. And so it's, I mean, seriously, and that's we know this. Yeah. And the reason why the audience knows I'm so transparent about this is because being visible also means knowing yourself and knowing how you need to show up or how you need to program yourself in order to show up in a way that you feel good about. Yeah. And for you, you're like, hey, I got to reserve the bubbly on a Tuesday because on Tuesday night, right, it's a frat meeting or whatever. And so I just appreciate you being honest about that versus, you know, some people who say I'm on all the time and no, you're not. Like,
it's no way. Yeah,
it's just no way. Yeah. Tell me a bit about how things have changed. Okay. And when I say that, I mean, you've been open now for 2 months?
90 days.
90 days.
90 full days.
90 days. All right. When's your actual anniversary date?
May.
May. No, like the date, the actual day.
Oh, for May 18th.
May 18th. Okay. Yeah. All right. So definitely coming up. No, it just passed. You just passed your 3-month anniversary. If you think about the last 90 days, the last year, the last 2 years, what's a significant change? You're just like, oh, from then to now, things look a little bit different.
Ooh. The biggest change, honestly, has been staff.
Okay.
So like we went from a one-man show to I literally have 8 people on payroll now.
Yay.
Which says a lot because it's like, yes, I can get to, 10 to 15 bikes of my own. Imagine multiplying that by 10.
Yeah.
So now we're talking 100, 150 bikes at a time. So it's like I need the manpower, but also training has been a big change because I'm used to, I know it and I just go through the motions, but now it's like, no, I gotta stop myself from doing the task for some of my techs, right? I have to say, well, walk me through why you thought the cable should be routed that way. You're hearing this noise on the bike. Why do you think it's coming from the bottom bracket and not the housing or the head tube? Mm-hmm. So those are some of the big changes, but then some of the partnerships have also shifted. We're definitely getting noticed a bit more. So we do have a number of high profile folks who walk in the shop from time to time wanting to partner and wanting to collaborate. So it's really interesting to see that.
Yeah, being more discerning, being more selective.
Yeah.
Right?
And I have to shout out the Goldman Sachs 10K small business program for that, because I think one thing that I really appreciated was them telling us that not every opportunity is your opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I get a ton of those now that really makes sense for me to say, I like where you're going with that, but right now isn't the time. That's not the focus of where the company is right now. Mm-hmm. And just being able to say, I'll put that in my back pocket and let's circle back in 6 to 9 months.
Absolutely, right? It's not a no, maybe it's not, it's just a no for right now.
Yeah.
And there's also a way to say it that isn't just a door closer. It's not like, oh, no, right? Just be like, you know what, now isn't a good time for that. So for those of you who are thinking, I want to get visible, but the floodgates are going to come in, you don't have to say yes to everything. Also, Matt just mentioned a bunch of bike terms that even I was like, what's the head? What's the lower bracket? What's the middle? Whatever. don't worry. In just a second, we're going to go interactive. And we're going to walk through the anatomy of a bike because I don't know, right? I got some bikes at home, but I don't know. I know handlebars, wheels, pedals, gear shifts.
Tires.
Right, okay, that's it, right? Time and chain, that's a car, that's a car. So we're gonna walk through the anatomy of a bike in just a second, but before we get there, Matt, I have to know what's next. Like, what's next for you? You've had a substantial amount of success here. Even if I look at the wall over here, you all can't see it, but we'll show you in some B-roll probably. There's photos with just some dynamic people on the wall because of the success, because of the warmth of this place, because of the service in this place. And so I am dying to know what's next.
So immediately, what's going to be next for us is definitely the youth programs. So we want to really pour into this youth program, starting certain youth clubs and also teams. So believe it or not, there's a ton of leagues here throughout the entire country. There's a National Interscholastic Cycling Association for youth from 9 years old all the way up to 18. So really developing the next group of kids who are going to represent this county in the Tour de France is really a passion of mine. So developing those teams is immediate on the to-do list. And then expansion. I think we've had a number of folks who've traveled from Atlanta, they've come from California, they've come from Delaware, New York even. So I want to start taking our bike shop to them. So I won't give you too much, but just know I want
Give me all of it. I want to know everything. No.
I want to start coming to them.
Okay, fantastic. It's a great time to be thinking, could someone use a bike, or could someone use some type of bike supplies or add-ons that could make them happier or make them healthier? So tell me, what kind of special things are you all doing that can elevate someone's gift-giving opportunities here in the shop?
Oh man, the list is so long outside of a new bike, but a new set of carbon wheels always is a good option. And then for those of you who don't know, but dad rides all the time, your son rides all the time, a Jaffe Cycling gift card is the best stocking stuffer that you could possibly give someone. So I think those two things are usually always top of the list for folks.
Okay, great. Matt, listen, I want to make sure that we get up and get moving and show people some things around the shop, but more specifically the anatomy of a bike. Can we do that?
Let's do it.
Okay, so how about it? Let's go into our interactive part. I'll see you shortly. Okay, I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and take a second and teach you.
There you go.
Okay, so I wanna talk about this head frame here. We got the handlebars, probably the head gasket down here. Over here, it looks like we zoom into the timing chain in this general area. This is like the spoke agency situation. Get in here, brake system, I know that's right. The pedestal bars, but this is like the CPU of the pedestal bars. And then right here, middle gasket, spoke agency back frame though. Underneath is the bottom gasket, and then flux capacitor slides in here, but the flux capacitor is optional add-on only.
Where are we going? Back to the future? Where are we going?
Okay, for real. Amateur teaches expert, fail. Welcome back. Of course, you are on part 2 of the Just Start Get Visible podcast here. Matt's back. Welcome back, Matt.
Thank you for having me back.
You're welcome. We're going to take some time and talk about the anatomy of a bike, right? Because there are so many components of a bike. And many of you are thinking, I've been riding bikes since my big wheel, since my tricycles, since my training wheels, for ages. But do you know the components of a bike? Because I surely don't. I don't know. That's
a really good question. And that's usually the first question that most people ask me. It's like, something's broken, but I don't know what part it is. Can you help me?
Yep. It's probably like a doctor. Like, something don't feel right here. Like my upper femur. I don't even know if that's what happens up here. It ain't working right. So we're going to take a second and walk through the anatomy of a bike. But before.
Right. So this is a Cannondale Super 6 Evo 2, full carbon frame. This bike is also an electronic shifting. So we use what's called Shimano Ultegra Di2. So
Shimano.
Yeah. Got a good ring
It's
to
long for shimmy. Shimano.
So this bike, the way that I would first start to always, describe the bikes to our customers is I always start with the handlebar area. So this long piece that is the handlebars. On top of the handlebars, we have 2 shifters. And for whatever reason, when a lot of customers, they tend to see a bike like this with drop bars, these are called drop bars, they always want to go straight here. And they just feel like this is, and they wonder why they're just stretched out. But typically you want to put your thumb and your index finger behind the hoods of the shifters, and this is primarily where you want to be because it's easy for you to reach the brakes.
Okay, I totally would do that. Mainly because I feel like it looks cool.
It does look
You
cool,
know, seem like you
and
lean
it's
in.
more aerodynamic, but no, you want to go behind the hoods first so that we're closer to the brakes.
Okay, clear.
So shifters, handlebars, those are the top two things that you really want to, the first things that you want to know. And then I always start to go into the gears. The gears are the best part. So the gears, on the front, we have what's called a crankset or a chain ring. And this gear is controlled by our left shifter. So our left shifter controls our crankset or the front gears.
Or the timing chain.
Definitely not the timing chain. And then our right shifter controls our rear cassette. So we also have gears in the back. So I always say right rear, left front.
Okay.
That's a good way to kind of just, at least that way you know. Yeah. So you also have the saddle.
Saddle. Okay, that is not what I called
This
it.
is your healthy steed right here. This is our saddle. Of course, we've got tires on it. We've got and this is another one. So we've got a rim, and then we have tires. So these two are separate. Together, they're called a wheel set. But this is the carbon wheel, the carbon rim, and then I have tubeless tires on mine.
Okay. Real world reality question here.
Sure.
Okay. We ride bikes casually in my home. However, I have some issues sometimes with feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't want to sit down no more because it hurts. And I even have padded biker shorts. And I don't know, maybe my padding isn't top notch. I'm not really sure. However, what do you recommend if someone is feeling like it's like booty bone to seat? Like what's the best way to get some cushion and some protection?
Right, so the beauty of it is we have an array of saddles now out there on the market. There's a company that we actually offer, it's called Terry. So Terry offers what's called a women-specific butterfly seat. Because again, listening to my community, I know that some of our customers, they have a little more cushion for the pushing. So with that being said, we have women-specific saddles that actually have 3D memory foam embedded into the saddle, which offers a much more plush experience.
Okay, thank you for that because wowzers. And I'm not even someone who has a bunch of pushing for the cushion, so I'm like, please, like help me out with some pushing or some cushion.
Cushion.
Yes, some cushion.
But yeah, no, those are really things that, I mean, outside of the frame, we can completely customize and modify this bike to exactly how Jacqueline wants to have it. So like I can adjust the reach on this stem so that you don't feel overextended. We can bring that closer in. I can put this seat up or down so that it's the perfect height for you. So when anyone else gets on the bike and it feels abnormal to them, just know it's not their bike, it's Jacqueline's bike.
Okay. Yeah. You know, the one thing that just came to mind for me, and Matt and I, as some clues that we dropped a little bit earlier today, we are graduates of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. Shout out to Cohort 20. And the one thing that we talked a lot about in that program, and that you just hear about a lot about in being an entrepreneur, is not trying to do everything yourself, right? Literally, we'll go crazy trying to do everything yourself. Even as I'm looking at this bike and I'm looking at certain components, I'm looking at add-ons, I'm looking at the name that's here on the pedals, right? I would imagine that it's a lot of different companies that almost come together to create this bike, right? And it makes me think about add-ons. So right here, I don't know for sure, but I feel like a camera or an odometer or lots of things could go here. What's your favorite bike add-on?
Oh, it's got to be the bike computer.
First of all,
the bike computer is definitely my most favorite add-on.
First of all, that's a thing?
Yeah, a bike computer.
Why are you saying it like you saying it differently is going to make me say, oh yeah, now I got it.
So your thought of the odometer, right? So
yes.
Like the speed out. So like our bike computers are kind of like, I mean, that's the compass, right? So like as anyone navigating, that's their map, right?
Okay.
Like this is how I can get from point A. I can literally travel from this side of the world to California. I can go all the way to the West Coast with my bike computer just because it helps to navigate. I can identify the different types of terrain. which routes I could take to make this ride as smooth as possible, but then I can see how fast I'm going, how much power I'm putting out. Like, am I overexerted? We also have heart rate monitors, so I can tell if my heart rate's too high or if it's too low, what I need to do or what changes I need to make while on the bike.
Yeah.
Definitely the bike computer.
Wow. At first I was saying, oh, is it GPS? But then you said, no, heart rate and all the other things. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Listen, I'm smarter. Listen, Troy, I hope you're smarter back there, even though Troy rides already. So he's just like leveling up on his skills. Matt, I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for spending some time with us. I'm hoping that our Just Start community, number one, is inspired to start the things that you truly want to do and also get visible in a way that feels right for you. But of course, as an add-on, I'm hoping that you feel inspired to buy yourself a bike, to become more physically fit if that's a desire for yours, and like Matt, to build community along the way. So Matt, as you head into month 6 and year 1 and year 5 and year 25, I'm hoping that as you grow along the way, that we can come back for another conversation to see what you're doing and who you're impacting. How about that?
I look forward to it. I just wonder which coast we'll be on at that time.
Oh, maybe it's not a coast. Maybe it's a continent.
Oh.
Maybe it's a country.
There we go.
If you could choose right now, like, you know what? I would love to go set up shop in that country. Is there one that's just like, oh yeah?
Gotta be Amsterdam.
What? First of all, I love it because they got bikes everywhere.
Exactly. So I wouldn't. There's no shortage of customers for sure. But I just think the experience that we could provide there would be really nice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce. I know you're listening. So
Give me a call.
Give me a call. Listen, thank you, community, for being here for yet another episode of Just Start Get Visible. I will see you, of course, for the very next episode. Listen, wherever you're at in the world, I hope that you're safe. I hope that you're healthy, and I hope that you're well. And I certainly hope that you're giving yourself permission to start the things that you want to do and truly get visible. Thank you to Black Originals for this beautiful outfit. Thank you to Live, Laugh, Bejeweled. I'll see you again soon. Take care of yourself, and ciao. Welcome to Just Start, Get Visible, your go-to resource of the journey to becoming more visible in a way that feels right for you.